going on, guys? Still here. This is a Ritter Griptilian from Benchmade, and I have installed Kevin Wilkins scales on it. They're first generation back spacers, or Kevin Wilkins scales have the smooth back spacer versus kind of the heavily jimped one. I always like the look of the Ritter Griptilian better than pretty much all the other Griptilians blade styles. I do like the 550 HG because of the spider hole. But it surprised me really how Benchmade put this blade out, because it's actually pretty thin by production standards. The measurements I was taking behind the edge are averaging at around 15 thousandths through here. Could be a little lower, you know, give or take a little. And actually in the tip it thins out even more. It's around 14 to 13 thousandths. That's always a plus. A lot of times in production knives, the production average that I've been measuring in a lot of my stuff is normally in the 20 thousandths range. And it might not sound like a huge difference, but you know, I think 15 thousandths is a different. You'll notice it when you're cutting. If you take something that's heavier, even like this military, which averages 25 to 28, and then you go over to something like this, you'll just notice your cutting decrease. A lot of custom knives I've had aren't always even in the 15 thousandths range. So that was neat. The only disappointment that I heard is, I guess Benchmade did the Ritters in their old heat treat of M4, so it's not bumped up into the 62, 64. Nobody's seemed to pin down a final Rockwell. I've heard 59 to 61, and then I've heard some people say 60, 62. Maybe somebody with a little more insight would know for sure. I'm not sure how much that will affect it, like wear resistance wise. Obviously if it's a little lower in Rockwell, it'll have a little higher toughness, but I'm generally not concerned as much with toughness in a folder, because you're generally not going to be seeing a ton of abuse. Not in the same way you might like an outdoor fixed blade. Wilkins scales are comfortable. I'll talk more about that if I review the blade. One interesting thing, I know you guys haven't seen a lot of Benchmades from me because I don't have a whole lot of them. It's weird. I can be a little overly obsessive probably with blade play like some people. It seemed to have some up and down when I initially got it. It seems to be settling better. No side to side. It's not quite smooth yet. I mean, I can flick it out. But I found this interesting that I've heard the axis lock shifts with forces. I'm not sure if that's similar to the triad lock, where, you know, if downward pressure is applied, the axis will shift in more to keep secure lockup. But I've noticed if I just sit it flat on a table and wiggle, only when it's going down can I feel it shift a little. So it's not like the same as blade play. It seems like it's secure with just, you know, slight checks. And I think a lot of folders you can muscle in some kind of play. So I don't know. I was just curious if people know if that is how the axis lock functions, with some meant to shift with forces that are applied. Other than that, I really like it. The Griptilian, I've always loved the grip. The Wilkins scales add some thickness and better comfort. And it'll be interesting to see how this M4 performs. I've thought about getting a Gale Bradley again just to put it against that. I would buy a Benchmade Contigo, but I haven't heard anybody report that it's comfortable with the handle. The jimping just looks like it would be very unfun to use. So, one other note, initial sharpening. It took a surprisingly easy edge. That's normally one of the first things I test. Is I'll just put a micro bevel on a factory edge to see how it starts doing. And I think it only took like 10 passes per side on a Spyderco fine stone to get it into, I was able to make some push cuts in newsprint in the 2-inch range. I made a few in. I do have a video of one successful attempt. Anyway, so that was interesting. Not a lot of knives can I get to that sharpness always, and for it to be that quick, I don't know exactly what's happening. So, thanks for watching as always, guys. I look forward to any thoughts, comments. You know, I love chatting with you guys, so give me your thoughts. I'll see you in the next video.